A few days ago, I was on Insight Timer, and this beautiful quote came up. Is there anyone here who uses Insight Timer? Yeah? Okay, some people. So it is this fantastic app with all sorts of meditations, some guided, some unguided. There are all kinds of like sounds and frequencies and even little talks and videos now. But I've been using it for meditation for over a year. And I have my favorites that I go to. And every day there's a quote that comes up. And so this is the quote that came up a few days ago, and we used it in our meditation today. Traveler, there is no path. The path is made by walking. Once again, traveler, there is no path. The path is made by walking. And this is a quote, an excerpt from a poem by Antonio Machado, who was a Spanish poet who lived from 1875 to 1939. And the poem is Traveler, There Is No Path. There were a whole bunch of different translations, but I chose one that really resonated with me because it talked about the path versus the road. And in this translation by Asa Cusack, basically the poem is telling us that nothing is fated or destined, that we create our reality in each now moment according to the steps we take. So the thoughts we think, the beliefs we hold dear, the stories that we're telling, and especially the choices that we make, which are influenced by the others, right? And so this quote actually also reminded me by another pretty famous quote by Heraclitus, the Greek philosopher, "You can never step in the same river twice." Just saying that, even though I've heard it so many times, I think it is such a cool quote because it's not just talking about the river constantly rushing and moving and how the river isn't static, it's always changing, but it's us being in the river that are always changing. So even if the river itself was completely still, and then it'd probably be a pond, right? But even if it was completely still, because we're new, we can never have the same experience of stepping into that exact same river because we're different in every single moment, right? So this takes me to a few principles in quantum physics. And the first one is that there's no such thing as time. There's no such thing as a linear timeline. For us, we're so accustomed to we're born at 0 and then we live, and then we die at a certain age, right? And there's this linear thing that happens day after day, moment after moment, breath after breath. But according to quantum physics, that's not the way it works. Everything is contained in this now moment, right here, right now. All the possibilities, all the potentiality that are infinite, so there's no beginning, no end, there's always more, all of that is possible in the now moment. And the reason that we experience something is because we place our attention on one of those gazillions of possibilities, and bam, that becomes our life experience. Now here's the thing. If everything is possible in this one now moment, we can choose to create something new every single moment of every single day. The universe itself is being rebooted anew every single moment, and we, as part and parcel of that universe, that's happening for us too. So even though we feel like we're trucking along on this linear timeline from 0 to whatever, every moment we are new, right? And so this is kind of what this poem and what this quote is telling us, that every single moment, not only are we choosing, but we are at choice to choose something new and as such create a brand spanking new life experience that we have never had before. Now that's happening anyway, whether we're aware of it or not, because if the universe is constantly rebooting itself, if we're constantly new, then we are new. We just happen to think that we are on this trajectory that is straight based on all of the memories and stories and experiences and everything that has gotten us to where we are right now. So the first stanza of this poem is, "Everything passes on and everything remains, but our lot is to pass on, to go on making paths across the sea." So what it's telling us is that everything is temporary. Everything has come to pass. That is out of the Bible, a certain translation. And so what ours to do is to know that. You know, the good, the bad, the sweet, the sour, everything in between, all of it is temporary. All of it has come to pass. And this way, when we live our life without attachment to all of these moments, all of these experiences, all of these stories that we have, what happens? We free ourselves up to opening up to those gazillions of realities that we haven't yet experienced. We free ourselves up to something new, to something different, to something that we can't even imagine. Because as we continue opening up our hearts, as we continue expanding our minds, we allow ourselves the beautiful gift and opportunity of being guided from within. That presence, that power, that knowing that is the very essence of our being, it is always, always available for us to tune into. And the more we let go of attachments to outcomes and experiences and things that we've experienced in the past, the more we open ourselves up to the infinite possibilities of being. Now, another quantum principle is that there is no objective reality. And so what that essentially means is we are at the center of whatever it is that we're experiencing. We experience our reality, we create our reality, and we perceive our reality according to our worldview, the thoughts we think, the beliefs we hold dear, the stories that we've been telling, stuff that we are aware of, stuff that we are not aware of. All of that creates this lens through which we experience our world, and that world isn't happening when we're not there. So even though it feels like, if I walked out of this room, all of you would still be sitting here. Okay, in the physical world, maybe, but my experience of that wouldn't exist. And so in quantum physics, that's what it's trying to tell us, that every single moment, we are an opportunity to create something different because we are the ones who create our experience, not something external, not something outside of us. And so back to the poem, traveler, your footprints are the path and nothing more. Traveler, there is no path. The path is made by walking. By walking, the path is made, and when you look back, you'll see a road never to be trodden again. Traveler, there is no path, only trails across the sea. Now that's just a tiny chunk of this beautiful, beautiful poem. But again, it takes us back to that Heraclitus quote of, you can never step in the same river twice. And so if we allow ourselves to know that that's the case, if we allow ourselves to really embrace every single moment as an opportunity to grow, to explore, to lean into the wonder that is life, oh my gosh, what could we experience? What new stories could we tell? And as we tell those new stories, what could our life feel and look like? What could our relationships feel and look like? What could the world feel and look like? I just lost my page. So every step of our path reveals our commitment to what we're affirming along the way, which kind of takes us to the song we're going to be singing at the end of Celebrate today, which is Holy, Holy Way by Ricky Byers. And in there, one of the lines is, let my steps reveal the path of peace. Let my steps reveal the path of joy. Let my steps reveal the path of compassion. Let my steps reveal the path of success, of abundance, of connection, of belonging, of acceptance. Whatever it is that you want to experience in your life, let your steps, the choices you make, the thoughts you think, the beliefs you hold dear, and the stories you tell, let them be about that. So if you want to experience more joy in your life, think joy, believe in joy, experience joy, tell stories of joy. If you want to experience more love, compassion, if you want to experience more abundant success, thoughts, beliefs, stories, and experiences of all that. Because what we focus on expands, right? And so if we are worrying, if we are fearful, if we don't know how, and that's what we end up paying attention to, then what are we going to experience more of? More of that. Right? So our work is to be very intentional, very purposeful as we walk this path of life. And so the title of my talk today is, walking the path of life. And so even though this is a photo that someone took, the thing here is that there are no footprints before the person in the picture. The person is walking the path. The person is creating the path with every single step they take. The path is this person's life experience. But behind that person, what's happening? Any moment now, all the steps, everything that they have taken to get them to right where they are, all of that's going to get washed away by the tide, by the wave, by the ocean, right? And then it's as if it had never existed. And even if that person turned around to try and backstep, they could never have the same experience again. They could never backwalk on that path because it's already gone. So ours is to continue looking forward. We can be aware of what it has taken, to get to where we are right now, but let us continue looking forward as we walk rather than, doing this kind of thing and not paying attention to or having any direction in our life. That's what we want to do. And what we want to do is we want to walk with joy, with peace, with love, with possibility, knowing who and what we are and how incredibly creative, powerful, and resilient we are. So in the end, there is no path except for the one you create, and every step along the way is an affirmation. So my questions to you are, with your next step, what are you affirming? And as you walk your path, what kind of life are you committing to? In this month of commitment, where we are at opportunity to be more intentional and purposeful with our life, what kind of life are you committing to? Thank you, and so it is.